Hello, folks. Another exciting review over systems of equations, and you got to take notes. And we'll take this Wednesday of next week. We need to solve for x and y in the system. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is look at the system and say, okay, do I have a base? Well, yeah, I do. I have an x that's by itself, and that can be my base. Okay, so base of x, and then what it equals. So I will not be doing the ... any of that stuff. I'll write the other equation down. So I have negative 2x plus 1y equals negative 38. Okay, now I got to put a parentheses around one of these two letters. It's got to be the right one, though. It can't just be any one. What's the letter you have in the box all by itself? Well, it looks like you have x. So we want to put the x in parentheses. You put the y in parentheses, you're going to be in trouble because the y is not the one by itself. It's the x. So I have negative 2, and then I make a parentheses, but I'm not going to put x in. And then after the parentheses, I have plus 1y equals negative 38. Okay, now I'm going to extend that parentheses so it becomes wider because I have two things I need to put in that. And then plus 1y equals negative 38. And what I need to replace x with is what it is equal to, which is 1y plus 12. So 1y plus 12. Okay. All right, now I'm going to need my rainbows. Okay, negative 2 times 1 and negative 2 times 12. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, but you'd have a y attached to that. And then negative 2 times 12. It's negative 24. So I add negative 24. And then once I have two things written down, I can eliminate my parentheses and the number that was multiplied outside of it. Okay, now before I write equals, I have to add 1y, and then I can write equals negative 38. Okay, now these y's, same letter, so we got to put those together, and they're on the same side, so I want to draw my adding pyramid. Okay, so I'm going to add those together. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So I have negative 1y, and now I can cross out the y's that were added to make that. Then before equals, I have to add negative 24, and then equals negative 38. Okay, now that I have my only y, I can dot it, and then I have a negative 24, so if it's negative, I want to plus it. Okay, so negative 1 dot y, I'm going to be dividing whatever's over here by negative 1. So negative 38 plus 24 is negative 14. And now I can divide by the negative 1. And negative 14 divided by negative 1 is 14, and that's y that is equal to 14. Okay, so I got 14 for y. All right, now I'm not going to write anything here. You don't have to, okay? You just use your base equation. Y is 14, so I'm going to parenthesize the y, get rid of it, and then just put 14. And I just have to plug it in on my calculator here because the x is by itself, okay? I won't have to do anything to get the x by itself. I can just plug that, whatever's over there, into the calculator. So 1 times 14 plus 12, okay, 26. Okay, my next problem. 2x plus 5y equals 3, and then we have 3x plus 10y equals negative 3. Now, this time I do not have a base, so there's no base variable. And so I want to do my bubbles. Okay, 2 and 3 aren't the same, 5 and 10 aren't the same. Now I know 3 and 3 are the same, but that doesn't matter because they don't have letters. Okay, it's got to be one of the two letters. So there's no same that benefits me at this point. Because if you just add them now, you're not going to do any good because you'll still have x and you'll still have y. Your whole purpose is to get rid of the x and the y. So So I'm going to do my dot, 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 dot. So I have a 3 here, so I can multiply the tops by 3. And I have a 2 here, so I can multiply the bottoms by 2. Okay, so 2x times 3 is going to be 6 with x. And then positive 5 times 3 is 15y. And then 3 times 3 is 9. And then the bottom, 3 times 2 is 6x. And then positive 10 times 2 is 20y. And then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Okay, and now I have the same where I want it, okay, right here with the x's. So same, but they can't both be positive because 6 plus 6 is 12, okay? But if you make it negative, it'll become 0. So negative. And that 6 was negative, but now that's going to be positive 6. Okay, remember we plus them. So 6 plus, and then make that bottom 6 negative. That's 0. Cross it out. And then I can take 15 and add negative 20. So it's negative 5 with y. And then I can take 9 plus 6, and that's 15. So I just dot my y, and I don't have to add or subtract. I just need to divide. And 15 divided by negative 5 equals negative 3, and that's y. So y is negative 3. Okay, now to find x. Now keep in mind, up here you had a base that you could just put your first answer in for and then plug it on the calculator, but there's no base. So you're going to have to pick the top equation, 2x, 5y, and 3, and just write it down here. You can't just use your calculator without a base. So y is negative 3, so I parenthesize the y. But you have to remember the x is not by itself like it was up here. Okay, so after you multiply, you're not done. You got to write more. So 5 times negative 3, negative 15. Cross those out. And then add 2x. Remember, x isn't by itself. Now I need to dot it and work on getting the x by itself. See, up there it was by itself, so I could just plug it in the calculator. But here, I don't have anywhere it's by itself. So I plus 15, and 2 dot x means 2 times x equals 18, and then I divide by 2, and 18 divided by 2 equals 9, okay? Okay, now on to the 3-story problems. You buy apples and oranges at a store. The apples cost $2 per pound, while oranges cost $2.25 per pound. The person buys 25 pounds of fruit for a total of $52.25. How many pounds of apples, how many pounds of fruit, oranges did you purchase? So you can see where we're going to have our answers. So it's apples, oranges, and money, so it's 3 units. And I'm also going to put another thing. I will put this for you on a test or if you were working on your own. There is one total cost, just one, okay? That helps me. I will put that on a test when you have 1, when you have 2. So 3 units. You know how to format a 3-unit story problem. So I have my total. I have how many, single, and single needs a dollar sign because you're looking for the cost of a single unit of whatever. And then total, that's money amount. Okay, and the other 2 units other than the money, which I already put here, are the apples and the oranges. So apples and oranges. Okay, now you have one total cost. What is it? $52.25. So that's the only thing we're going to put in that, because here's for my total cost. I cross it out. Now I go up to this row on top, and these are how many. That means not money, okay? Money does not go here. If it has a dollar sign, I don't want to see it. So $2 doesn't go here, neither does $2.25. Okay, now the only thing I see without a dollar sign is the 25 pounds, okay? So it says a person buys 25 pounds of fruit for a total of $52.25, but it doesn't say if that's apples or oranges. So then 25 is going to go right here. And I'm not done here. I need these to be filled out, okay? So that is X. and that'll be y, because we don't know how many separate we have. Okay, that is how I fill up the top row. Okay, now, right here, I'm going to black this out because I have no use for that box. I will not put anything inside it. Now I am looking for money. Okay, so $2. Well, what costs $2? It's apples. I also have $2.25. Well, what's that the cost for? That's the cost for oranges, so 2.25. Okay, so x times 2 is, again, you times. X times 2 is 2x. Y times 2.25 is 2.25y. Okay, now these letters, x and y, they're not the same letters, so we need to make the cross. If you do not have the same letter, you cannot add them. So some of you have asked questions, and I get it. You're like, well, that's the only equation I know of down here. And then they kind of draw a blank out where the other one comes from. Look at your top row. You have x, y, and 25, so you can get that to be an equation too. So x, y, and 25, so x plus y equals 25. And then on bottom we have, and I'm going to put 1s in front of those. And on bottom we have 2x plus 2.25y equals 52.25. Okay, so when I look at that, I do not have a base variable. And draw your bubbles. And no base, but there's no same either. So you need to do your dot, dot, dot. Okay, so I have a 2 here, so we'll go 2, 2, and 2. I have a 1 here, so 1, 1, 1. Okay, so 1x times 2 is 2x. 1y times 2 is 2y. And then I need to take 25 times 2, and that's 50. Then the bottom, 2x times 1 is 2x. 2.25 times 1 is 2.25y. And then 52.25 times 1 is 52.25. Okay, now let's try to, now I should have somewhere where it's the same right here. So the same is right here. But they should not both be positive. They should switch negative. 2.25 is negative and 52.25 is negative. Okay, so I plus. So if I add 2 to negative 2, it gives me 0. Adding the opposites of the same number always cancel it out. Now when I add this, I need to be careful. I need to take 2 on top, but when I add, I need to make sure 2.25 is negative. So negative 0.25y. And then I got to be careful when adding these. I have 50. And then plus, but I got to make sure the 52.25 is negative now. It's negative 2.25. Okay, and now I dot, and then it just divide because that's the only number over there. Okay, then I divide negative 2.25 divided by negative 0.25, and I came up with 9. Okay, so y equals 9. Okay, let's get the x solved for before we worry about what goes where. And by the way, y is 9, and y is under the orange column, so there must have been 9 pounds of oranges. Okay, now again, you do not have a base, so it's not just plug it into your calculator and find it. Okay, you need to write down the first one, that 1x plus 1y equals 25. And I know that y is 9, so I can replace the y with 9. And 1 times 9 is 9. Not 9y, it's just 9. Plus 1x equals 25. So I'm going to dot my 1, circle it, subtract 9 from each side. And that gives me 16. 1 dot x equals 16. Okay, you can divide by 1, but it's still 16. So I had 16 pounds of apples and 9 pounds of oranges out of the set. Okay, next problem. 378 adults and 214 children attend a fair. The adults cost $2 more than a children's pass. Should say the adult pass costs $2 more than a children's pass. The total amount made was $2,384. Find the cost of an adult pass and the cost of a children's pass. Okay, so again, 3 units. And again, I'm going to tell you here, there's only one total cost in the problem. And you can kind of tell by reading it, but some of you have problems knowing when is there 2, when's there 1. I can give you that. Only one. Okay, so let's make our table. So total, that's your money total. This is how much money it costs for a single unit, single pass for each people. And this is how many. Okay, so I have adults and children. There's only one total cost, and that's $2,384. Okay, let's get out of that row and go look for some non-money amounts. How many units do we have? That means not the money, but how many. So not money. Okay, well, 378, that's not money, and that says adults. So 378 is how many adults we have. Children. Okay, 214 children. Okay, now if you wanted to find the total, you could just add, there's really no other numbers. You could add these two together, but it's not really necessary, so I'm just going to black that out because I don't really have anything. Nothing's going to go there. It's not going to help me. Okay, now in this row, well, let's get this out. So I got to fill these in. Okay, the only amount left is $2 more, so right away go x plus 2 and x. When you don't know two things and you know one's 2 or whatever more than the other, you want to use x plus the number, and then the other unknown is just x. Okay, I'm not going to use y in this, okay, so I'm not going to make these boxes down here. Okay, but you got to put x plus 2 in the appropriate slot. It says the adults cost $2 more. So x plus 2 needs to go in for the adults, okay? And then x by itself goes in for children. Now remember, you're going to multiply. You multiply 378 times x plus 2. Well, I'm going to put a 1 in front of the x because I need to multiply 378 times 1x and 378 times 2, and that's multiplying, okay? So 378 times 1 is 378x. Got to write kind of small here. Plus, again, 378 times 1 is 378, but 1 has an x, so it's 378x. And now I'm going to take 378 times 2. And that's 756. Okay, and that's the expression that represents the total cost for just the adults. Now the children, there's 214 children, and I don't know how much their passes cost, x, so 214 times x is 214x. Okay, now, look in the bottom row. Those letters are exactly the same, so what I want to do is add, okay, as long as they're the same. So I take 378 plus 214, and that's 592x. Okay. And then I add 756 before equaling $2,384. So I'm going to dot and circle minus 756 minus 756. So I got 592.x. Whatever I get over here, I'll have to divide by 592. So 2384 minus 756 is 1,628. And then I'm going to be dividing by the 592. Okay, so 1628 divided by 592 is 2.75. That's one of the answers that goes here. Now you're wondering, well, where does it go? Well, go find the place in the box that has the x all by itself, because that's what I got for an answer. The x by itself is here, and that's under children. So the children are 275. Now to find the adults, go up here. Okay, so I know x is 275. To find the adults, I take 2.75 plus 2, since it's 2 more, and that's 4.75. Okay, now for my last one. Angie and Kenny play online video games. Angie buys one software package and 3 months of gameplay for $65. Kenny buys one software package and 2 months of gameplay for $50. Find the cost of a single software package and a single month of gameplay. So again, 3 units, but I will just say off to the side, this one has 2 total costs. Okay, so 3 units, I want this. That's your money total. This cost for a single. And then how many. Okay, and then we have the software and the months. So you're paying for software and months. Okay, now remember there's 2 total costs. So the first total cost is $65 for Angie, and the other cost is $50 for Kenny. Put them in the order they appear in the problem, because if you flip them, you're going to get things messed around. Okay, now let's talk about how many. Remember, this is not money. Okay, 1, that's not a money, so it belongs here. So 1 what? 1 software package, so 1. 3 is not money, it belongs in this. It's one of these type. 3 months, so 3. Okay, 1 software, so 1 goes back here. And then 2 months. Okay, and that's all those kinds of numbers I have, so I'm really not going to need this. Okay. Now for the middle row, well, I never have needed this for the middle money amount, and these are for dollars. So I don't have any of those either, so they're unknown, because that's what I'm trying to figure out, the dollars for the software, dollars for the months. So I'm going to go X, X, and Y, Y. I need 2 of each one, so I have to have them there to multiply by. So 1 times X is 1X. 1 times X is 1X. That's actually a good thing. 3 times Y is 3Y. 2 times Y is 2Y. Okay, so look at the bottom row. These are not the same, so we're going to need our system. Now, you need to know where there's 2 equations. Well, you have this one, and then you just have the one right above it. It's not like that first problem where you have this and you have to look up here. Okay. So I know 1X for the software plus 3Y, 3 times the months of gameplay, equals $65. I also know that buying 1 software package and adding 2 months of gameplay equals out to $50. Okay, so this one there is no base, but there is a same here. Okay, so I have the same right here. So I will not be doing anything there. I will not be doing the dot, dot, dot. Okay, but the 1 and the 1 are both positive. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, but if I make these all negative along the bottom, 1 plus negative 1 will be 0. Okay, okay, and then I add 3. It's not 3 plus 2. You got to make the 2 negative. So that's 1Y. And it's not 65 plus 50. It's 65 plus negative 50. That's 15. Okay, and I divide by 1. And Y equals 15. Okay, so now go find the Y. There's my Y's. What column's that under? It's under months. So the cost of a month is $15. Okay, now to find your software package, again, you didn't have a base where you can just plug it into the calculator and get the answer right away. You got to do a little bit of work. Use your top, 1x plus 3y equals 65. And I know if y is 15, I can take 15 times 3. That's not the answer, though. Okay, you have 45, but you still need to get the x by itself. So plus 1x equals 65. Dot your 1, circle it, minus 45, minus 45, and 1 dot x equals 20. You don't really have to divide by 1, but it's 20. So the software package itself costs $20, and then you pay $15 every time month of gameplay.